I guess I could explain what my job was. So essentially, I would just get a script, and I would have to do all the visuals and draw all of the expressions, and yeah, add in jokes if I felt like it. Jim would say no, and yeah. But this panel is just gonna be pretty casual, and you guys can just ask questions if you have questions about storyboarding, because I know a few people might want to get into storyboarding, or you don't know what it entails, so anyone can just raise their hand and shout as loud as they can, because we're so far away from each other. Not you, Dusty, put your hand down. But yeah, if anyone has any questions about what we do at DHX for storyboards, just shout. Yes, Dusty.
Do you do storyboarding by traditional art, or are you using digital now?
We use Cintiqs, so we do draw on a big screen. It used to be on paper, like that's how I learned. And then I had to learn the computer, and it was just a crazy, crazy experience. But yeah, so we do everything digitally. The program we use is Sketchbook Pro, which is free, and it's awesome. It's like the program I stand by. But yeah, it's so much easier to do everything digitally now, and we're not killing so many trees. Anybody? Yes?
How much detail do you have to put in the storyboard?
We don't have to fully animate things because that's the animator's job, and I don't know how to animate. So, but we add in like all the expressions and the acting and stuff. So it's just a good blueprint for the animator. But we draw like most of the backgrounds. If there's not a background that exists, we make it up. If there's not a prop, we make it up, and then it's passed on to designers, and they have to make it. But yeah, we do all of like the cinematography and the layout, and we have to worry about composition stuff. Anyone else got a question for me? Think about it. Give it a minute. Yes, Dusty. Okay.
As an artist, what would you say is the difference between sequential art of comics and doing storyboarding?
I feel like doing comics is like a little bit more tricky, because when you're doing storyboards, it's just easier to plan out the panels, but when you're doing comics, you have to think about the flow of each page, and it's more restricting. So I don't know. A lot of people that do comics do crossover into boards, but yeah, mostly like page layout and stuff for comics is a lot different than storyboards, because you have to think about the flow of the show between the shots. And then comics, it's like pages and panels and flowing and makes sense. And it's like, it makes my head hurt thinking about doing a comic. Yes. No, it's okay. Well, we have a huge team, so there's like 2 board artists for each episode. But yeah, there was like, I think 13 of us working at a time. Yeah, and then we would like start in a staggered, because you don't want the director to be working on all the episodes at once. So yeah, it's spaced out, but 2 board artists for each episode. Yeah. I'm sorry, you had a question?
As a storyboard artist, are you given a lot of room to interpret what happens in the script as you draw it out?
Yeah, usually like, well, we can't just be like, nah, I don't like this episode, I'm gonna draw what I want. Like, we do have to stick to the script for most things, but sometimes there will be like directions that just say, chaos ensues, and it's like, what does that mean? And then you have to figure that out and draw all that. So that's probably an example of us getting free reign. And we also get to just throw in jokes, and then if like it gets approved, then it gets thrown in, because sometimes the writers, like, they're good at writing like dialogue between characters, but sometimes the jokes don't really make sense with like a visual medium. So it's like, we'll just add in our own stuff and see how it goes. Yes. That's more of a job for the director. The director's kind of like the middleman between the writers and the storyboard artists. So if there's anything that the writer wants to tell us or they want to change, the director will be the one to tell the storyboard artists. But yeah, so we don't really talk, like I talk to writers on Twitter, but I don't talk to them professionally about what needs to be done in the show. Anybody else got a question? Yes.
What do you find is the sort of easiest way to work with the scripter for visual medium?
Usually kind of the way I read a script and I just doodle what I imagine the shot to look like. Like I explained this to a friend and they said I was crazy, but it's like sometimes I'll listen to the voice record and I'll close my eyes and pretend there's a little TV in my head and then I watch the show. So it's like I just imagine what the shots look like, but that's usually how I interpret it. I try not to get like too hung up on the script itself, and I'm just gonna pretend it's an already existing episode and then I just have to draw it. Yeah, but when I explained it to a friend and I was like, there's a TV in my brain, she was like, what? Anybody else got a question? Yes.
Which comes first, the voice-over recording or the storyboarding itself?
The voice record comes first for this show. It is different for other shows. Like sometimes it's you'll board the show first and you'll come up with the jokes and then they'll record for the show. But for Pony, we got the voice record first. And like I said, when you're adding jokes and stuff, sometimes you can request a pickup. So you'll add a joke and then they'll go back to the voice record and then they'll record that. But usually it's all recorded for us, which is actually kind of helpful because the voice actors are crazy and sometimes like hearing their voices will influence the expression. Like there's so much extra audio when Tabitha records an episode. It's just like, oh, I don't know which voice to pick. But yeah, anybody else got a question? Yes. In the 200th episode, when Luna is sitting on the throne petting the goose, that wasn't in the script, and I was just like, where is she standing in this part? And I was like, she's on the throne petting the goose. Oh no. But it was so funny because after that episode aired, I went on Twitter and like it had only aired for maybe like a day, and there was someone that had made a plushie, and I was like, what are you doing? How did you do that? Yes.
Were you responsible for drawing the Twilight's pudding face in the Best Gift Ever?
No, I did work on the Best Gift Ever, and Chelsea Woolman was the one that did that one, but it was like so funny because that's how Tara recorded it. Like she didn't add that face in, and we were just like, that's weird. So we drew a bunch of different pudding faces and then we went with that one, but that was Chelsea that had that part. Anyone else? Are you cheersing to me or do you have a question? Yes.
Is there any other, is that the best one that happened, or is there another joke that you wrote somebody did that you are really keen on?
Oh man. It's also been like so long since I've drawn those things, so like racking my brain for them is really hard. Trivial Pursuit was another episode that I did, and there was just a bunch of crazy faces in that one. So there's no like specific joke, but that one in general, because it was something that we call like a bottle episode where everything takes place in one room, and that way people don't have to design a million backgrounds and a bunch of stuff, and everyone's kind of in one place. And so we just went ham with like expressions and like craziness, and some people loved it, some people didn't, but it was so much fun to draw. So I also just like the sentimental stuff. Like I love drawing dumb faces and I love drawing jokes, but if there's like a tender moment between characters, I'm like, give me that. So in the Great Seedling episode, there was the part where there's like the flashback with Applejack and you see like her folks. That wasn't in the script either. So I added that in because I was just like, why is she so mad about this? Why is she so sad? And then Jim and I were talking about it. It's like, this would be the last confluence with her folks. So we added that in. And then some people cried. We made Applegeek cry, which was not that hard, but like... Does anybody else? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, if I'm traveling home, I'm not going to lug my Cintiq. So I do have an iPad, but yeah. I actually don't do any video editing. I just do drawing on my iPad, so I don't know, but I can ask around and then maybe I'll like post it on Twitter or something. But yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, sorry. Yep. Oh, it was a blast. Like there's so many crazy artists and I miss that team every day. And I was saying that when the show wrapped up, it was super bittersweet because everyone was like finishing at different times. And it was like, goodbye, I'll miss you, even though we work at the same building still. Like, we're just not on the same production. But it was so fun. Like, I made so many good friends that, like, I don't know what I would do without them. They're just so sweet. But the storyboard team was the best because we had a room to ourselves because we're so rowdy and annoying. And they pushed us off and it was like, get out of here. And like the layout people and animators would like come over and slam our door shut because we're talking too loud. And because when you're boarding, you turn around in your seat and you're like, is this joke funny? And then like you talk to everybody that's there and they'll be like, no, that's dumb. Or they'll talk things out with you. But we called our room Dolphin World. I can't remember why. But I think it was because when we moved into the room, there was a poster. Like, you know those T-shirts that have, like, the 3 wolf heads? It was like that, but with dolphins. So then we were like, this is the theme. And then we just decorated the room like that. And we had dolphin versions of everyone that worked on the team. I think Jim's dolphin had, like, a pencil stuck in his blowhole. And... yeah, it was weird. And then whenever someone left, we would always take the dolphin drawing that they had on their wall and we would write in loving memory, like as if they had died or something, but they just went to a different show. But yeah, it was a fun, weird team. Anybody else? Yes. I wouldn't really say like inspired because we weren't allowed to like take anything from the fandom content and put it in the show. Like that was a big no-no. But I definitely watched. And we all like lurked. Like we all saw stuff and we all looked at art and we saw what was going on. But like I remember seeing, gosh, I feel so silly for not remembering the name of it, but it's the one Celestia animation. With I think it's like Lullaby for a Princess. I remember watching that and I was just like, I want to make something like this because it was like so good. But yeah, I drew so much fan art when I was on the show and then I couldn't post any of it because NDAs. But now I can. I can post everything. Yeah, we're free. But yeah, like lots of people had fan art and I think we had like, if there was any like funny meme or something that we found, sometimes we would print it out and it would be on the studio wall. So who knows if it was something that you made just on the wall of the studio. Yes, red shirt.
For reference, roughly how long ago would you have storyboarded the 200th episode?
I think it was like a year before it aired, maybe a year and a half. Yeah, so it's really funny because sometimes people think that like it's done way quicker than that. It's like, no, like I'm already off the show and something that I've done has aired, yeah. Anybody else? Yes. Usually we're pretty good. Like, it's kind of our job to make sure we don't board too much. So there's too much time and too much stuff cut out because that just makes work for other people. But sometimes there are things that are cut out. But the directors are usually pretty good at not cutting out anything that are like super interesting or super cool. Like, it's just stuff that could afford to be cut out. Like, a character's walking for too long. Like, ooh, no one really wants to see that. So usually that's the stuff that's cut. Right at the back.
How often do you find people hiding questionable content in the back of your parks? Because I remember making this, I think it was Christmas, a Heart Story episode.
Yeah.
There was a light bulb and this curved piece of furniture that was.
I think that just might be like a technical error. I don't know if someone did that on purpose, like, ooh, I'm gonna hide this. But sometimes like we'll draw jokes and it's just like, we can't do that. But no one sneaks it in. The directors and Hasbro are like, stop that. Like, they'll definitely stop us before anyone draws something dumb. Oh, so many hands at once. Red shirt in the back, yes. There's like a setup for panels, but like every board artist kind of works different as long as it's like set up in a certain way that when the editor gets it, it's fine. But people start their board in different ways. Like, I'm super old fashioned and I like to draw on paper before I do anything digitally because my brain doesn't work for some reason when it's like, I'm at a computer, time to draw. Like, I have to be on paper, so I'll draw everything out really tiny, get the flow of it, and then I'll put it onto the panels. And sometimes I'll show the directors my tiny little scribbles, and I'm like, look at this, do you get it? And they're like, what? But yeah, so it's different for everyone. Like, Desiree, she's one of the board artists, like, her stuff is always so clean, and she always goes straight on to the panels, and it's like, how? But yeah, it's different for everybody, but we have a setup format for panels that are just handed off to the editor. But yeah, other questions? You at the edge.
What was your most difficult and or frustrating episode of Storyboard?
I think probably, like, I wouldn't say frustrating, but complicated is probably like the 200th episode, just because there's like, everyone's everywhere and a lot of stuff is happening. And it's like, I drew so many geese, I wanted to die. But yeah, none of them were really frustrating. I know for the finale, Megan, she had like all of the crazy fight scene and stuff, and I know that she was like, oh, there's so many characters all at once. And even then, she was just like, just a lot is happening, but it wasn't really frustrating. Like, there's nothing that we get that's really like, oh, I hate this, because you're drawing a pony. Like, it's fine. Anybody else? Yes.
Do you remember any time artist has managed to sneak something in? Because I remember Megan responding to someone sneaking Slender Pony into the background, and she didn't know what that is. So she looked that up and was like, well, thank you for the nightmare. No, I did not okay that someone stuck it.
Yeah, sometimes the people who like build the models for the ponies, like, they'll make random characters that are just the incidentals that I'm sure a lot of you love. And like, there was like a Rick and Morty that got thrown in, and yeah, so it's like at that point sometimes we don't really know what the build artist is or the layout people are going to throw into the episode, because when we draw this stuff sometimes it'll be a completely different pony. But there was one pony that I wanted to get into an episode, and I drew him like in so many scenes. But since it was the final season, it was like so crazy because they had to like design all of like the aged up characters and everything in the future, and they had to build those. So they're like, Tori, we're not going to build this pony that you want in the background. And I was like, So it was a Guy Fieri pony. And he was like all over the studio because everyone loved drawing him. And his name was Flavortown. And, but there was the episode where the Cutie Mark Crusaders grew up. They're at a fair. And I was like, he's eating so much deep fried food. He's so happy. And then Jim's like, we can't make him. But he exists in my heart. Anybody else? The guy at the back there. You, yes, you, the one who's looking behind you. I think it's because like, well, I love animation altogether, and like I animate sometimes for fun, but the restrictions of animating in like an actual production just wasn't for me. Like I didn't have the patience really for it. I feel like storyboarding is a little bit more free because you get to like add all the jokes, you get to choose the expression. But when you're animating in a production, you're working off of other people's drawings. So like the animators look at my drawing and sometimes they can be like, no, we're not really gonna do this, we're gonna do this. But because my stuff is like the blueprint, then they usually follow that. So it's like, I don't know, I just like making the thing first. But yeah, yes.
Is there a standard size what's the standard size for a board?
Like
Like the industry standard?
like how many board panels or like the size of the, I can't remember. It's like 1080. It's like whatever like the screen resolution is because you have to make it that size. I can't remember off the top of my head because it's always set up for us, but no, yeah, I can't remember. I'm sorry. At the back with the ears. Well, I went to school for animation, so I did like the classical like paper flipping animation, and then I also did 3D animation, but 3D animation made me cry, and then I was like, I'm gonna do storyboarding. So I did go to college for it, and then I just applied to studios out here with my portfolio, and I didn't start working on Pony right away. I actually worked on like, what was the first show I worked on? I think it was called Nerds and Monsters, and it's just like a YTV show. So I like started off with something else, and then I started as a revisionist. You don't usually start as a board artist, so you're fixing tiny mistakes. And then after 2 years, I started doing boards. So go to school. Yes, right in the front.
How much fun do you have drawing expressions for certain scenes? And is there a favorite you have during production?
I have the most fun drawing faces. Usually people will look over at me while I'm working on a panel, and I'm just like, and then they'll see that drawing like 5 minutes later. But one of the favorite faces that I drew is probably in Trivial Pursuit, where Twilight's like, haha, sure, Pinky. And then she's like, just when we're back in the game. And she's like rubbing the table. There's just like so much crazy Twilight in that episode. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. Yes. I'm thinking back to like 2 years ago when I I last did a board, but oh man. That's tough. I can't think of anything right now, but if something comes to mind, I will just loudly say it. I don't know where that music's coming from, but I'm okay with it. So yeah, usually we get the script and we'll get a handoff from the director and they'll show us the designs for the episode, and they'll give us kind of a run through of what they expect of us, and like if they have any ideas for like something that they want to happen, they'll let us know, and then we get 2 weeks to draw our episode. and then we have to present it to them, be like, here it is, here's our jokes, here's our drawings, does it make sense? And then the director will give us more notes, and then we get 3 weeks to tidy it all up, and then it gets passed on to the editor, and then it gets put all together, and then revisions happen after that. But yeah, it's different for every board. It's always a learning experience. Yes.
Is there any drawings you look back on that you wish you would have done over again?
All the time. There's so many. I feel like any artist will draw something, and then like a month later they're like, oh, this could have been better, and then usually you redo it, or like you want to do something different and you learn from it. But boards, you just kind of have to hand it off, and it's like it's there forever now. Yeah, right in the front there. Sure.
So you've probably started drawing since like when you were really young.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when did you know that you wanted to do this?
I think I was maybe like 9 that I knew it could even be a career. But even through high school, I was like, oh, do I want to be like, because I wanted to be like an art teacher, and I wanted to be a marine biologist, and I was all over the place because like it changes all the time. But yeah, in like 2001 or something, I saw some behind the scenes stuff for a Disney movie, and it was a bunch of people standing in a room going through the board panels explaining the story, and I was like, people do that? So then I was like, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I feel like I always kind of wavered on what I wanted to do until I applied to school and I was in it. And I was like, that's how I kind of decided. But I always wanted to draw. I knew it was going to be something art related. So yeah. Yes.
I got an invite to another fan festival. If you want to
Oh, cool.
consider it.
Thank you. I'll check it out for sure.
If you don't come, you don't come. But aside this stuff,
Thank you so much. Yeah, you too. Yes.
Who do we get to blame and or thank for all the alicorns that keep popping up in the background, besides my Larson?
All of the Alicorn what? Sorry.
All the alicorns that keep popping up.
Oh, yeah. No, that's all M.A. Larson. You can just yell at him for that one. We're just, like, on the show, we're just like, oh, another one. Anybody else got a question? Oh. In the gray jacket right there, yeah.
Are you going to be a part of Generation 5?
No, Gen 5 is all being done at a studio in Ireland, actually. So DHX and all of the team from Gen 4, we don't know what's going on. We're not part of it. Yeah. It's a completely different crew. Front, yes.
What are some of your artistic influences?
No, it's okay. It's just like I know how to find them on like my Instagram, but they've all got like crazy usernames and I don't know their real names. So
Who are some of your, who are some like classic artistic influences?
oh, I grew up on like Glenn Keane stuff, so like learning to draw is like, oh, I want to draw like that. But there's a lot of board artists in the States that I really admire, like Kiana Mai. She draws a lot of. It was really funny because she drew pony art and I didn't know it, and I saw some of like her pony art and I was like, oh, it's you. But this was after like I had already talked to her about boards and stuff, and we were friends through like work. But yeah, a lot of my coworkers inspire me because there's some really talented artists here. But yeah, any other questions? Blue sweater.
I noticed that at first there weren't that many faces, it was mostly you five. Then a few started to appear, and then they were like all over the place.
Yeah.
Were you like all free to put faces in the show?
Yeah, originally in the first few seasons, it was like a little bit more strict about being on model. Like even when the board artists were drawing, there were like some rules about like, oh, their head can't face this way. Like you have to draw it a certain way all the time. And then they were like, each season they kind of pushed it more and more. But yeah, by the time I got to it, they were just like, yeah, go ham. Because, well, it was the last season. They're just like, we're going to have a ton of fun. But yeah, there was a lot of restrictions, I know, in like season 1, season 2, and then also in season 3 about even what the board artists could draw. But yeah, I didn't have to deal with that. I was free. Anybody else? Yes.
When you're not drawing or storyboarding, what are you doing?
Just hobbies and stuff. I play video games. I needle felt. And I play ukulele. But usually it's like drawing is a hobby for me. So even when I'm not working, I go home and I draw. It's like I don't stop ever. Anybody else? Red shirt.
Do you have a favorite character in episode, regardless of if you worked on it or not?
Like my favorite main 6 would be Applejack. I liked that one clap. Just- oh, thanks. Take your applause back. I don't want it. My favorite episode, I think, well, because I like Applejack, I think Perfect Pair was my favorite. And it made, like, I heard the song when it was finally recorded. Like, we listened to it in Jim's office. And Steph Maloney, she's the layout supervisor, she just started crying. She just openly bawled in the office. And then I remember when that episode aired, we were watching people's reactions, because that's another thing that we do at the studio. We do watch, like, reactors watching episodes. And so we had it up on a big screen. We're just like, we're just going to watch people cry all day, I guess. But yeah, that was, like I said, I love, like, the tender moments between characters, so that really messed me up. But yeah. Yes.
Speaking of songs, which piece is your favorite in MLP?
I really liked the Hearthswarming Tale, like all of those songs. Those were all really good. Like Luna's Future was really cool. That was a really fun one to hear, and I think it was like the first time Luna sang. You guys probably know. Did she sing before that? I don't know. No. Yeah. But that whole episode, I know it's like an existing story, but I was like, I really like this, and all the songs are so good. Yeah. Anybody else? Yes, right in the front.
Are there any other TV animation shows that you watch?
Just that I watch. Yeah, I watch Steven Universe, and I watch Gravity Falls, and I watch a lot of anime. I was watching Haikyuu last night because the new season came out, but yeah. Like the one by Vivzy Pop, what's it called? Yes, yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen that last one, but I've seen the other 2, and I think it's like so cool that just like all of these like independent artists worked together and made this project that's totally their own. And I hope more of that happens, because that's super cool, and I'm glad that people received it so well. So yeah. Yeah. I've seen like Vivzy Pop's stuff before, but that was like the first big thing that I saw. I saw a lot of her rough animation when she was in school, but that's like, yeah, the only thing I had really seen. Anybody else? Blue sweater. Yeah, I started working, oh gosh, Legend of Everfree is when I started. And then I finished on the Roller Coaster of Friendship one, so I was on it for quite a bit. So transferring over to Pony was interesting because I was drawing Twilight one day as a pony, but all of a sudden she just had a human face, and I was like, what? So that was an interesting switch, but yeah. Yeah, it was a little bit weird because even when you're drawing like all of the girls, they're so tall. They take up so much of the screen this way. And then when you get to Pony, everyone's down here and all spread out this way. And then also the hand thing, having hands was nice. And then when you get to Ponies, it's like, that's all gone. You better hope you have a unicorn, otherwise no one's picking anything up. Like, I remember when someone switched over to Pony and they had like a character that was supposed to be carrying a tray and talking, and they're just like, she's a pony, what do I do? Like, she can't be like walking like this. And yeah, so that was, it's like silly learning transitions, but it's always funny. In the back there, yeah. Yes, you. I know there's like more episodes that need to air, but I'm not sure if they're still making it because it's on a different floor in the studio, so I don't know if they've finished or if that's still happening. But I finished up on it a while ago, so I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. Yes. There's two board artists for each episode. And sometimes, like, for the really crazy ones, they'll have a junior board artist that'll help out with some scenes. Because if there's, like the finale, for example, they had a junior board artist on that one. Because there's just, like, so much happening that they needed someone to pick up some slack. Yes. Usually you get that done in a day, or you're supposed to. Yeah. Or like that's including like the cleanup and stuff. Usually you can finish, like I would usually have everything planned out like in little scribbles in like 2 days for my whole half of the episode. But the whole process, it's like 5 weeks for a whole board from getting the script to having it all cleaned up. Yeah. The ears. I wouldn't say that I chose Ponies. I think Ponies chose me. Because I just applied to the studio and I didn't know what I was getting thrown into, and then they're just like, here, horses. But I don't know, there's like some really fun Disney projects that I would like to work on. Like when they were announcing DuckTales, I was like, oh, that'd be fun. I'd like to work on that, but I also don't want to live in the States. So, like, I don't know if there's any existing project that I'm like, I would die to go on to, but if there was ever like a Sonic show that was done here, I'd be like, yes, me. But yeah, even if it was like weird, freaky movie Sonic, I'd draw that. I would do that. I know they fixed him, but I'd still see the movie if he was like weird, freaky Sonic. Because when I watched that, I was just like, yeah. Yes. Yeah, I was what people would call a horse girl growing up, so I drew like ponies for fun when I was a kid. I actually went home recently and I was flipping through like a really old sketchbook and there were just ponies in it, and I was like, oh, it was meant to be. But yeah, and I was also kind of a fan of the show before I started. Like I had doodled some ponies and I was like, here's my OC. And then I was like, oh, I'm going on to the show. I better not like show anyone my fan art. But then when I got on it, they were just like, yeah, we all have fan art too. So it ended up being great. Anybody else? Yes. Oh, when we draw like a regular episode where it's just like talking and stuff and not a musical part, we usually do it in sketchbook and we can just flip through it that way. But when we get a song, the way we used to do it, which we don't do it anymore, is we would draw it in Flash so we could time it out and make sure that it fits with the song. and anyone who's worked in Flash and has to like just draw in Flash, it's not fun. But it would help to get everything timed out and make sure that you do it right. But yeah, so that's how we would do songs. Yes. Yes, yeah. My favorite one to work on. Gosh, I'm so torn. I loved the 200th episode. That was a blast. But I also really enjoyed working on the one where the Kingmark Crusaders grow up, because gosh, what's her name? Spur? That character. I loved her so much. Like, I could listen to her voice forever, and she was so fun to draw, and Bluefy was ridiculous. So I remember when I got that design and I was like, is this for our show? Like, I thought it was so weird, but I was like, oh, whatever. And for some reason I made Bluefy sweat a lot. Like, when he got nervous, I was just, like, whenever I draw nervous faces, I always draw like sweat, and the animators were like, yeah, sweat. And my favorite episode out of all of them, heck, that's so hard to pick. I do really like anything with like Rainbow Dash and Tank, because I think they're really cute. So the episode where Tank goes into hibernation, that also kind of made me cry. And then, like, do we ever see him again? I don't know. Like, we see him later. Okay. But I remember when that happened, I was just like, is this how we are just getting rid of this character? Yes. Well, like, since I work at the studio, there's usually IT people that will help me out if there's ever a computer issue, but a lot of the time, if you do need to just draw on paper, the directors are pretty forgiving, and you can just draw that way, and yeah, like, there's not usually an issue for long, but I do enjoy drawing on paper, because that's kind of the way I started, and I feel like it sort of restarts your brain, switching back to paper. But yeah, and like, I don't know, it's weird, because even when I'm drawing digitally, I'm like, this feels kind of permanent for some reason, even though drawing on paper's more permanent. I don't know. I don't know why my brain like thinks that way, but yeah. Red shirt. What advice would I give to who, sorry? Oh, okay. Well, I think it would be mostly about like how you want everything to be timed and the flow of the shots, because like if you have like a lot of the things that we get called on is like, why are these characters traveling like this? It could be so much faster. Like, you don't need to show a character walking all the way across a shot to get to a thing. Like, they could, as long as they like exit the shot and enter the shot and then like in the next scene, then it's fine. Paying attention to like composition is important, and making sure that your scenes don't pop, which might be kind of a weird thing to say, but like when you have a character standing in the same spot and then you draw another panel and there's another character that's the exact same size, it messes with your eyes. Like, you don't really think about it until you see it. But some things like that, for example, yeah. Blue sweater. Like, what would I want to have happen in the episode? I'd have Sunset Shimmer come to Ponyville in an actual MLP episode. Yeah. Because in the finale, during the song, like the epilogue episode, I made them put her in the background because they weren't gonna do it. Yeah, yeah. And I was just like, she has to be there. Yeah. Red shirt, did you have a question? Well, he's sort of like a big brother to me, so he's like just annoying all the time. But he does this thing, I don't know if he actually does it for everybody, but he did it for me, where it was my birthday and I didn't want to tell anyone because I don't like when people are like, happy birthday, let's all sing a song for you. And I guess, I don't know how he found out, but he came into the room and I had my headphones on and I was working, and he just comes up so quiet for such a big guy, is like, how do you sneak so well, and grabs my chair and just shakes it and just screams happy birthday. And I was like, pee my pants. And just like, but yeah, he's hilarious. He's like the best director I've ever worked with. I should call him right now. I need to call him. Okay. I was talking to him this morning. I was like, I'll call you if there's like a question I don't know how to answer, but he's gonna be like, why'd you call me for this? Oh, okay. He's gonna just be like, she's the worst. Jim,
What?
there's a question for you.
Okay.
What's a dumb story of us working together?
Oh, we work together.
That's it. Thanks. Thanks for nothing. That's it.
That's enough.
But I told the story of you shaking my chair for my birthday and giving me a heart attack.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else?
I don't know.
I
What
don't know.
else?
So many things. It's been a real adventure.
Wow. Friendship is magic.
That's what I hear.
Yep. Well, thanks for nothing, Jim.
That's what I'm good for.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
What a loser. Yes. I say it to his face, though, so it's fine. Any other questions? Depending on what time it is. I think. Yes. Oh, yeah, it's an hour. We're good. Okay. Red shirt.
After your time with the show was over, did you get like more engrossed in fan content?
A little bit. Like I started posting more because I was allowed to, but like I haven't. I'm always kind of weird about like interacting online because there was one time that someone was having like a conversation on Equestria Daily, and they were like fighting over something, and it was like, no, it was this. Like I knew the answer, and then I was like, oh, I feel weird for saying that. Like I feel kind of like there's, after having an NDA and not being able to talk for so long, I feel weird like interjecting and talking to people and stuff, but I do love seeing people's art and like fan work. It's so good. Yeah. Ears again. Like, have I ever pulled like an all-nighter or something, or just had crazy hours? A little bit. It's all about like time management for yourself, because doing boards, it's not like there's a daily check-in, so you have to keep on top of your work. But it kind of just varies from person to person how well they handle it. But I have pulled a few like late nights working on an episode, but that's just because I'm like particular and I was like, I want this episode to be really cool and look really good. So it's usually not because of like anything that the director or like the production itself is putting on me. It's all my fault. But sometimes it happens. Just don't burn yourself out, because that's the worst. Like, overwork yourself. Yes. My day is pretty good. I fought the wind walking here. I had like a suitcase and like a board from my table, and I'm just like, oh God, don't blow away. But now that I'm here, it's great. So I'm glad to be inside. Blue sweater. I think that it was kind of a good thing because like I I know there are some people that think this, that they thought like, oh, someone on the show saw my idea and they put this thing in the show, and now they stole the thing I was making. And it's like, usually we don't see stuff like that, and also the writers and the directors make sure to avoid any sort of like existing thing that the fandom has done. So sometimes it was nice to just not have that, and also not to be talking about work all the time. When I was like, now that I don't have the NDA, it's kind of like nostalgic for me. It's like, when I was working on the show, and here's all this cool stuff. And seeing the finale and people's reaction and stuff, I was so glad that I could interact with that, because I cried too. We all cried. But yeah, I'm glad to not have it anymore, because I also just like drawing ponies, and I want to share that. Anybody? Yes. I really liked Forgotten Friendship. For that one, I don't know, I just really liked the whole idea of like Sunset trying to regain her friendship and then realizing like what she has. And for that part, it was super weird because I did all the pony stuff. Like when she was in Equestria, I did the Celestia apology scene and stuff, and I was like, oh, I hope this is okay, because I know like people had been waiting for it, and I was like, But yeah, that one was my favorite. I just really liked, and I also really liked Wallflower. Like, she was a pretty cool villain. You're right there. I'm invisible. But yeah, Roller Coaster Friendship was also fun, just because I love Rarity and Applejack a lot. Yeah. But I don't know. I didn't really like Vignette, the villain. I don't like listening to some of her dialogue. Like, she's funny, but the stuff that she said, I was like, okay. But yeah, so Forgotten Friendship was my favorite. Anybody else? Ears. No, that was Megan Willis and Krista Porter, I think. Yeah. But I I gave some feedback on like some design stuff, because Lil Cheese is like my favorite. And then also Weird Buff Spike. There were so many different designs for that. It was hilarious. Like, the original design for him, like, you could tell they didn't really know how to like translate it into like him being a bigger dragon, because he was always supposed to be round and cute. And I drew one picture where he was just like super big and beefy, but then still had the little round head. It was like, here you go. But they were like, no. But yeah, I loved seeing the designs as it happened, but yeah, no, I didn't work on that episode, but I'm so glad the people who worked on it did, because they did so good. Red shirt. Yeah, there's people that work in design, so there's character design people, and then there's people that do like character rotations, so they'll draw like the character from every angle, and then there's build people, so then they build the flash rig of that character. But usually I think it's like higher up designers will do the design of the character like in a 3/4 view, and then like the rotation people take it from there. But yeah. But sometimes like storyboard people will add in a design, and when that happens, it's called like a board pull. So they'll mark the panel, And then the designer's like, here's the panel from the board artist with their weird design. Good luck. But yeah, like that's the only time that really happens. So anybody else? I'm looking at you, ears. I'm waiting for no, I'm just kidding. Like two different production, like parts of the production. Not at the same time, because then you would have a lot of work on your plate. But like if you wanted to work in boards and then transfer over to a different part of the production, that's sometimes possible. Like you can ask the producer, be like, hey, I also like to do this thing. Can I do that? But not at the same time, because then that's a lot of work. Yeah. Yes. Well, I already talked about Flavortown and how he didn't get in, but no, I think I really liked putting in like Derpy in certain places, and like I know in Equestria Girls I would put her in and I would like have her just eating a muffin in the background. It's just like, there you go. But yeah, if Flavortown had gotten in, that would be the proudest moment. But yeah, he didn't make it. Any other questions? I think we have 5 minutes. Yes. We only used Flash when we were doing the songs, but when we were doing boards, we used Sketchbook Pro. And recently the studio switched over to Storyboard Pro, so that's an adventure for everybody. It's such a crazy program to learn. Yes. I'm currently working on a show that I cannot talk about because I have signed an NDA for that one, but I'll let you know that it's a reboot of something and leave it at that. Red shirt, yes. Storyboard Pro is kind of like if Sketchbook and Flash had a baby, because you can like time things out and you can do like camera moves. You're also kind of like the editor when you use it, so it's a little bit different. And you can like put the audio into Storyboard Pro, so that's helpful. And you can also like import the script and everything, so it's more catered to actually doing boards, which is nice. Because Sketchbook Pro, it's like it's a nice drawing program, but like it's just a drawing program. Red shirt, yes. It's kind of just whatever I'm feeling. Like, I went through a phase where I really liked making, like, this was while the finale was being worked on. I was like, I want to draw everyone's, like, kids. Like, I want to draw all the, the second generation for them. And I drew, like, fan characters and stuff. But I just love drawing unicorns and anything that's got, like, glowy magic. Yes. Yes, in the back there. I feel like I'm not really organized to lead a whole production of something, but I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm still very fresh to this community, so I'm kind of just like dipping my toe in there and being like, eh. But I think it would be super cool to do like a zine or something with a bunch of artists, but I don't know if that's a common thing for the pony fandom, because I've done it for other stuff, but. I'll just go to the vendor's hall and just yell like, "What? Let me draw some stuff." Red shirt again. I think most of the staff has their own OC, but it's usually just, it's not like anything super crazy. Like, it's usually just us as ponies. Like, I think, yeah, I have a badge that it's my character chugging cider. And it just says Cider Tori, but it's it's pretty much what I looked like when I worked on the show. Like I had blonde hair and yeah, so it's nothing super interesting, but we would all draw ourselves as ponies. And there's actually some of the builds people had made incidentals of themselves, so they're in the show. And like I know Sabrina was in there right away. So yes. Did I make fun of people for what? Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah. Yeah. But like in a fun way, like not because I did it too. So. Any more questions for the last 1 minute? No? No? Any takers? Wallflower? I see you now. Sorry to put you on the spot. That's it, yeah. Thanks for coming, everybody. I actually have a table in the vendor hall if any of you want to come ask questions that you didn't feel like asking, or if you want to buy anything. That'd also be cool.